See, the thing with Max's age is the breakout age hasn't happened yet.
Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, the draft show. Max Chadwick, PJ Clark, Tate, Sigworth, and Nick Merriam. We covered the offense of the 2022 NFL draft. Now we're heading to the other side of the ball, the defense. So if you remember the 2021 draft, it was a very offense-heavy draft. Now, it's very early right now, but I think this is a pretty heavy defense draft, man. This defensive class is ridiculous. We're going to cover all the names to know at each position like we did before. Please, again, follow us at Boom or Bust Draft on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Hit the merch store as well, and please like and subscribe to the channel. And please support for us, because support for us is brought to you by that right there, Manscaped. Father's Day is coming, and the weather is catching heat. Whether you have a dad bod or rocking a six-pack, make sure you and your dad are smelling nice and shaved where it matters most. Make your dad proud this year and get him and yourself the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 and the Refined Cologne by Manscaped. The brand new Lawnmower 4.0 Refined Cologne is perfect for you and the dad in your life to complete your grooming game. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BOOMERBUST. That's BOOMERBUST, all caps, no spaces, at manscaped.com. Guys, you got the cologne. That's like actual cologne, right? That's not just for...
It's gas.
I'm reading
fabulous.
this right now, and I think this is... Because I've been putting it on, and I put it on for my grandparents' dinner tonight, and I don't know if this is for like your neck and wrists.
Ball cologne?
It smelled good, or ball cologne. It smelled good enough.
Max, you got to do some serious soul searching right now. You got to really do a nice, deep introspective.
I think I put on ball cologne on my neck and wrists, but it smelled good, which is all that matters.
Comment down below for Max how to correctly use
yes,
cologne.
please.
Yeah,
Let us know.
I don't know if it was ball cologne or not, but it smelled good enough. It worked. So,
Good
again,
job.
20% off.
Use the code, people.
At manscaped.com. Use the promo code BOOMERBUST. That's BOOMERBUST, all caps, no spaces. Don't forget that you came from your dad's balls this year. Show your original home some love with
That is just so funny. I don't know who writes these, but oh my god,
Yeah,
that is just so funny.
they're
They just
outstanding.
write themselves.
So let's go over to the edge class first. Kind of a weak edge class in 2021. But PJ, talking about a guy that you like at this edge class.
Yeah, so my number 2 overall player right now, Kayvon Thibodeaux. We talked about him bullying Elijah Vera Tucker. in the
Take
Pac-12
the quotes away.
championship game.
Take the quotes away.
USC had snap count issues.
Take
and this
the
was
quotes
very
away.
publicized, and he had good reps when the snap count
You're
was
doing
on.
a great job
So,
selling Kayvon Thibodeaux right now.
I'm just saying, Kayvon Thibodeaux is your prototypical number 1 edge where we didn't have it really at all last year. Like Kayvon Thibodeaux, unless he gets hurt or something goes catastrophically wrong, is going to be a top 5 pick. Like lock it up. Good, great. This like number 1, even if none of the quarterbacks separate themselves. Like we're getting back to the Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, as opposed to,
Chase Young.
Jalen Phillips, Chase Young. Yeah, sure. Sure, Chase Young. Kind of forgot he existed for a second there. But Kayvon Thibodeaux, this
With
is
a
my
Washington
plea.
and an Ohio State fan guy.
This is my plea to Oregon more so than anything I have to say about Kayvon Thibodeaux.
Don't put him in
Oregon
coverage.
likes to get a little cheeky and like play him at linebacker. Stop doing that. Stop
Look
doing
at Justin Herbert like 3
Stop.
years ago. It was like, is Justin Herbert good? We have no
Joy
idea.
Hill gif.
Stop doing that. Stop doing that. He is 6'5", 250. He is not a linebacker. He is your prototypical edge. He's the best one in the country. He's very good against the run. I guess his one caveat is he sucks at tackling in open space. Huge fan of missed tackles, which I guess is bad. But he gets sacks, he gets after the quarterback, and he's good in the run game. So I don't know how much more you want. Just don't make him a linebacker because that's stupid. And they did that last year, and it was dumb. So Kayvon Thibodeaux, number 1 overall pick? Question mark? Maybe.
Yeah, going over to my guy, Brenton Cox. I sent out a few tweets on our account this past fall about some of his plays for Florida. Transferred in from Georgia. He's got great size, 6'4", 250. The thing I noticed the most, and I said it in all these tweets I sent, is the jump off the ball for Brenton Cox is absurd. He's by far and away the first guy off the ball every single snap. The size and like I mentioned are 2 things I also like. And folks, here it is. First one of the year 2, year 3 now. pedigree, former 5-star recruit. I know the people were waiting for that one. Love the pedigree. Cons, more production. I need to see more production from you. Only 3.5 sacks for 48 total pressures in 2020 is not great. He had 8 penalties as well. Missed all of 2019 because of the transfer rules. So here's a guy who maybe could have come out for 2021, but I think will greatly benefit from another season of production for 2022. Get more tape. Let us really see who is Brenton Cox.
And Florida's defense can't possibly be any worse. So
Here we go. Here we go again. Florida fan PJ over there.
We're getting to another Florida
and a Clemson fan.
I'm not a Syracuse fan, so we got that going for us.
And a Georgia fan now too. I mean, make up your mind, PJ.
Georgia National Championship.
Oh Lord.
13-1. Bet it. I don't tell you how to make money. I'm just advising.
PJ becoming the guy at the Eagles game who's wearing an Eagles hat and a Cowboys jersey. I don't even know what he's doing at the Florida Georgia games this year, but all right. Aiden Hutchinson. Here's another guy who was pretty good going into last year. Started out strong, had a foot injury, had surgery for his broken foot, and then missed the whole season. We kind of had him as like a mid-second round guy, and he just didn't, he's coming back. He probably should have because he didn't get any tape really from last season. Not a super athletic dude, but long, tall edge player with a good sophomore year production. Big, fiery, passionate type player. Gets off the ball quick, has a high motor, thumps guys. Has great bend, really technical edge player, uses his arms really well, gets them up to try and deflect passes when the quarterback's throwing the ball in his lane. I don't know that he's going to be a guy that blows you away with his sacks numbers this year, and I don't think he's going to blow up combines, but he's quietly just been productive in college. I think he does all the right things. I think he's just a consistently good player as a pass rusher and a run defender, and he's easily a dude I could see sneaking his way up draft boards. I don't know that he's going to go top 10 like some of these guys we've been talking about, but I could see him going, top 20 is maybe a ceiling and certainly has a good chance of being a first-round pick as an edge player this season.
So my guy right now, who I have as edge 2, number 6 overall on my board, is Nick Bonitto from Oklahoma. He was the best pass rusher in the country last year. 49 pressures on just 186 snaps, Win percentage was nearly 5 points higher than anyone else in the entire country. He explodes off the line, bends the corner with ease with his flexibility. He's a little undersized, though. He's 6'3", 238, needs to add bulk because he looks like a linebacker right now. Kind of the issue we had with Chris Rumpf going into last year, so we'll see if he added any weight. Gets pushed around in the run game a little bit, too. His skinny frame shows up there. Not a great tackler, missed 21% of his career attempts. Made a jump from 2019 to 2020. Only had 19 pressures on 131 snaps in 2019. Might be scheme dependent too. He looks like just a 3-4 outside linebacker. But look, if Bonitto can keep adding weight, stay as dominant as a pass rusher as he was in 2020 while improving in the run game, I'm going to say this right now. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for him to challenge for edge 1 with Kayvon Thibodeaux. I like Thibodeaux a lot, and I do think he's a special edge talent. But Nick Bonitto, man, was unbelievable. Like I said, best pass rusher in the country. So we'll see.
70 plus coverage grade.
Yeah, and he impacts coverage as well. And 3-4 outside linebacker, man. We'll see. So let's go over to D tackle / linebacker. So if you watch our offensive video, we did running back / tight end. We're going to do the same thing with D tackles and linebackers. Because really, there's only a couple guys that we should really keep an eye on right now. Tate, who do you got in those two positions?
Yeah, as a guy who was somewhat early to the Jabril Cox hype train, I'm going Mike Jones Jr., transfer from Clemson to LSU, basically just taking Jabril Cox's exact spot in that defense. Had coverage ability. Thing that stuck out with Cox also sticks out with Jones. 44.4 NFL passer rating in his career, 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, and he hasn't allowed a touchdown in his career. The coverage ability is going to be a thing that he leans on, and it just sticks out and will separate him from other linebacker prospects this year. Things that you want to see him improve upon: tackling. 37% missed tackle percentage in 2020. That's astronomically bad. 16% the year before. So this wasn't even like a one-off thing. He's just bad at tackling. He's got to clean that up. The size also, the school lists him at 6 foot 220, but like those measurements are usually wrong. So he's like potentially even smaller than Jock. And Jock was kind of small, so it's another thing to bring up for Mike Jones Jr. But I think the coverage ability for him is just awesome, and I think he's going to be a stud.
Okay, so Mike Jones, a linebacker for now that might end up being a safety. DeMarvin Leal, a defensive lineman for now that might end up being an edge, question mark. Nobody really knows. He did a lot of both, and that I think speaks to his versatility. He had a lot of snaps lined up, handed the ground over offensive tackles, played in the A gap, played in the B gap, and played an edge for Florida State, or for Texas A&M rather. I'm thinking Maroon. Pedigree, number 3 overall recruit in the class of 2019. Pedigree, 5-star, huge 5-star guy. This guy was a force to be reckoned with this year, and was a really productive player for Texas A&M, and I definitely think somebody that we need to keep an eye on, a guy that could push for that first kind of quick off the ball. I sound like I'm describing Marvin Wilson in that video we did for the 2021 draft, and that fell apart rather quickly. But 6'4", 290 has 290-pound edge is really rare, but he was quick enough and performed well and got to the quarterback, had 20 hurries for a Texas A&M defense was really predicated on stopping the run. Texas A&M returning most of their defensive starters figures to be a pretty good defensive unit again this year. So DeMarvin Leal is definitely a name to keep an eye on.
Keeping it on the interior defensive lineman, we got a really natural defensive tackle here in Haskell Garrett out of Ohio State. We've delineated the Ohio State guys, so it's not just Tate banging the table. Guy who sits at just under 300 pounds. He's got the movement abilities to take advantage of that size, I think. Really good pass rushers this year. He was an above-average run defender. Struggled with tackling at times, but he's explosive get-off combines with great swim move. He really can beat guys right off the bat. And also, when he disengages, it's hard to say space because, there's always traffic when you're around the trenches. But when he's able to disengage and get into like a little bit of more than a phone booth, he's super athletic, just finding his way to the ball. Now he has some trouble when he gets to the QB at times. He misses tackles. He's often, beaten his guy immediately and forced the QB to step up into a sack because he can't make the tackle, which you need to clean up. But certainly the improvement, if he improves this year, he can be a dominant pass rusher on the interior, which is just not something you see a lot anymore in college. And because of that, he could be a highly valued player coming out, kind of like Javon Kinlaw we saw with South Carolina, a guy who really, really flashed pass rush ability at South Carolina a couple years back. He has that ability, and he's got more size, making his pedigree, wrong word. We use that for something else here. But his form as a player special.
So I'm going to finish it off with Christian Harris, the linebacker from Alabama. So he actually isn't even my number 1 or number 2 linebacker, but I think we should talk about him because everyone has him like top 10, top 15 talent. Christian Harris
does his name rhyme with Schmillen Schmoses?
He basically does. Basically does. Right now, my linebacker 3, my linebacker 2, I'll just give it out there, is Edifwan Ulo-Fashio, the Washington linebacker. We're gonna have a lot of fun saying that name, but he's a stud. So we'll talk about
every year.
But let's go.
All right, I need a nickname for him quickly.
Yeah, we need one. So Christian Harris explodes into the backfield. Let's go with the positives. Very big hitter, very athletic, 6'2", 232. Good tackler, too. Only missed 12% of his attempts in his career. Good pass rusher this year. 6 sacks, 31 pressures on 116 snaps. So this guy explodes into the backfield, man. The highlight reels are outstanding. He had a great interception against Notre Dame in the playoff game, too. Very impressive. Been getting meaningful snaps at Alabama since his true freshman season, which matters. But other than that interception, he is bad in coverage, like really bad in coverage. He allowed a 119 passer rating when targeted in his career, gets lost in coverage, got worse as a run defender this year, too often jumping to the wrong gaps. This guy's a very jumpy player. He's got the athleticism. He's got the wow plays on tape. His highlight reel I put against any linebacker in the country, but he too often reminded me of Dylan Moses. I hate, going comparisons for the same college guys, especially a guy that just happened last year, but poor in coverage. He's got the athleticism and he's got the run defending and tackling, but poor in coverage. Got to improve there if he's going to be a top 15 pick like many have him right now. Look, if Micah Parsons can't be a top 10 pick at linebacker, Christian Harris for sure cannot be a top 10 pick at linebacker either. I don't even think he's a first round pick maybe even right now. So let's go over to the corners, though. This is a special corner class. And, Nick, there's kind of a under-the-radar guy that not a lot of people are talking about right now.
They should be talking about it. I think Ahmad Sauce Gardner should be discussed. I don't know if I'm going to put him over Stingley and Kyrie Elam, but I think we should be treating these as the big 3 of this corner class. Like, I think, and normally you wouldn't because he goes to Cincinnati and the teams he's going up against aren't as good, but he showed against Georgia that he could play well against a good receiving core and a good competition and a good quarterback in JT Daniels. Tall, lengthy. He's a little undersized. He's around 188 pounds. He's got a thin frame, but he's got really long arms. Not the fastest guy, but he is physical press man corner, good at ball skills. Footwork's okay, but he's super fluid. He has elite range. If a guy beats him, he can catch up to a good guy in short space immediately, and with those long arms, break up passes. It's unlike anything I've really seen before because he can legitimately react to anything that a receiver does and catch up. And normally you can't do that at corner. You got to stay with guys. He has that ability to catch up. Only had one game in 2020 where he allowed more than 2 catches and more than 44 yards, which is just ridiculous. It was one game where he gave up 4 catches, and I believe it was Central Florida. It wasn't the Georgia game. I think Georgia, he gave like 2 catches for like 20 yards. So just locked down last year, and he was even more productive 2 years ago. So here's a guy who's just played excellent so far in college, and if he continues, I think he is a surefire first-round pick.
All right. So you just named your big 3. My CB2 isn't even in your big 3. So that's, I guess, a testament to how deep this class is to a certain extent. I'm taking Andrew Booth from Clemson. This guy showed a lot in his first year as a starter. So I guess the biggest knock would be inexperience. Did not play really at all as a true freshman, but as a sophomore was their outside cornerback. Darion Kendrick up and down, played suspended, didn't play, played whatever, got torched when he did. But Andrew Booth was the consistency on one side for Clemson this year, and a Clemson unit that is returning a lot of the same guys. So this is a guy that has freaky athleticism, springy, likes to be at the line of scrimmage, is competitive in the run game, but he has highlight reel pass breakups and interceptions, loves to go up with one hand, loves to come down with the ball. I will put his highlights against anybody else in this cornerback class. I think it's just a matter of building on last year as his first full year as a starter. But to me, the athleticism is something that teams are clearly going to covet at the top of next year's draft, and I think he's a surefire first-round pick.
Booth, for the people that forget, is the guy who punched that guy and then had to ride home with the managers from that road game. For those who forget, just a fun thing. Put that in the highlights too. Moving over to another really hyped up guy in the CB class, Kayvon Elam. Coverage production is huge with him. 12 pass breakups, 5 interceptions in 20 career games. Career 42.9% completion percentage when targeted. Great size, 6'2", 195. I think he's just got the perfect NFL frame at the next level. Age is another thing that we can highlight. He's going to be 20 on draft day, if I did the math correctly, which I probably didn't, which is huge. We like really young guys who are really, really good at football already. And also, here's the most fun pedigree, in my opinion. We have, like, Brenton Cox, the 5-star, and then we have, like, Asante Samuel Jr., whose dad is, like, the connection. But here is Matt Elam, 2013 first-rounder, is his uncle.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a fun pedigree.
Wow.
Yeah, we love pedigree here, as we know. The biggest con, I guess, that people have right now is experience. He's more of a projection. What is he going to do in 2021? How good is he going to be? So if he isn't good, then, he's not going to be a high draft pick, but he really could be a stud this year, and he's going to pole vault him into a really high draft pick in 2022.
So my guy is universal CB1, I think. Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU, number 1 corner for me, number 3 overall player, best non-quarterback in this draft, and I'd be surprised if that changed next April. I think he's far and away the best non-quarterback in this draft right now. All the tools you could want. 6'1", 195, ran a 4.3 in high school, has a 42-inch vertical, former 5-star recruit, number 3 overall in 2019, tied for the 4th best corner recruit since the composite recruiting rankings began in 2000, lived up to it, man. As a true freshman, was the best corner in the country in 2019 as a true freshman. He only allowed 38% of his 94 targets to be caught, had 6 picks and 15 pass breakups, forced tight coverage at the highest rate in the country. Keep in mind, true freshman in the SEC. Bo Nix, again, winning SEC Freshman of the Year, was a black stain on the SEC. That was awful that year. But this year only saw 30 targets in 2020 over 7 games, played through an ankle injury as well. Wasn't as dominant in 2020 in terms of ball production. Didn't have any picks, had only 5 pass breakups. But quarterbacks were not targeting him like they were in 2019. He only allowed 7 first downs all year on 64 less targets in 2020. But he's the best corner prospect we've seen since at least Jalen Ramsey in 2015. He's got everything you want. Slam dunk top 5 pick. Like, I'd be shocked if this guy is not a top 5 pick in next year's draft. Let's finish it off with the safety class, which is really, I think, another really, really good position that wasn't as great in 2021. So, PJ, who's your guy, man?
Yeah, so Kayvon Thibodeaux, my number 2 overall player. Kyle Hamilton, number 1 right now for me. I think Kyle Hamilton is the best football player in this class, and I don't think it's particularly close. Kyle Hamilton is special.
Wow.
Kyle Hamilton is special. I think if anybody is going to break into the top 10 as a safety, a position that has not gone in the first round for back-to-back years now, it is the 6'4", 220 free safety that can play in the box and play in the slot and be the, captain runner of a Notre Dame defense like Kyle Hamilton. He's a special player that can attack at all 3 levels. He can get after the quarterback. He plays at the line of scrimmage. He's good in coverage. He doesn't miss tackles. He plays well when the lights are brightest. Had his 2 best games against both Clemson games this year. I think Kyle Hamilton is an absolute superstar and my number 1 overall player. I think he's the best player in this class.
Okay. Kyle Hamilton's good. I don't know about 1 overall. PJ still has some work to do on his board, clearly. Moving over to Bubba Bolden, Miami, Florida. Transferred from USC, 6'3", 220. Big NFL size and frame. Physical, obviously, as it comes with the size. 74 tackles in 2020. Despite having an 18% missed tackle percentage, which is pretty high. So that number could have been even higher if he just learned how to tackle. Tied for second in the country with 4 forced fumbles as well. Hard hitter, clearly. The weaknesses, kind of a roller coaster. He had a season-ending injury in 2019, transferred from USC to avoid a 28-month-long suspension. He's also going to be a redshirt senior in 2021, so the age thing is going to be another thing. He probably will not be a first-round pick just because we're talking about safeties, and also he's old. And also, despite being old, he doesn't have much experience, only 816 career snaps despite being a soon-to-be redshirt senior. Kind of weird. He lacks elite coverage ability. He needs to prove that he's more than a physical run-defending safety, which I think he currently is at the moment. But he has the traits and has the size to do that.
So my guy's Jaquan Brisker. I need to just really quick here because this is a great safety class and coverage is king in the defenses in the NFL. Draft safeties in the first round. Like, what are we doing? Like,
I agree.
It is the most undervalued position in the NFL by far. The stonks of this position are just going up and up. We see teams having guys like Antoine Winfield, Tyrann Mathieu. Packers had great safeties. The Bills had great safeties. All 4 teams playing in the conference championships last year had great safeties. It's a position that is underpaid, undervalued, not being drafted in the first round. Trayvon Moehrig falls to the 40s, just ridiculous. And if we see like 2 safeties go in the first round this year, like I don't know what we'll do on the draft show, but it's just ridiculous. But Jaquan Brisker was awesome to watch. I didn't watch Penn State a whole lot last year, Max, but this guy to me was great watching his tape. I think he's got good size. He's not the most fastest guy I've seen, but he's definitely an athlete. He's got good range, not afraid. One of the best tacklers I've seen so far over the past few years at safety. He's a guy who can pop you, but he also can tackle, form tackle very well. Big play guy. He's going to get sacks. He's going to get interceptions. He's a guy who plays well in all facets. He can blitz. He can stop the run. He can cover. He's got range. Played most of his snaps at free safety. Not much of a slot guy. But with that free safety coverage range ability, he can also come to the box, like I said, be a playmaker, blow some guys up. I think his kind of all-around ability as a free, strong safety gives him value and is a guy that we should be looking at to get called day one, especially if he continues this upward trend he's had.
Yeah, Nick, I completely agree with you. I mean, I have preliminary rankings right now, and I think safety's a very undervalued position, and I have like 4 or maybe 5 safeties that have like round 1 grades for me right now. It is a ridiculous safety class, including my number 2 safety behind Kyle Hamilton, Tyke Smith, who is now playing at Georgia as a top 15 grade for me right now. Might be the best safety in coverage in this entire class. Locked down the slot. I played for West Virginia and played in the box too. only allowed 110 yards on 38 targets in 2020. The longest play he let up was 12 yards. He had 2 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, allowed a rating of 56.3. Not the biggest, only 5'10", 198, but he doesn't play like it, man. Sheds blocks really well, blows up screen passes. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a safety as good at blowing up screen passes like Tyke Smith. Very instinctive player, always in the right place, right time, which is so much of being a safety nowadays. Not a great tackler. Missed 18% of his attempts in 2020. He's an okay run defender. It'll be interesting to see how Smith fares, though, in the SEC this year. If he keeps up this level of play at Georgia, we're talking about a top 15 pick. This is one of the best kept secrets in this class. So how about me going with the West Virginia guy for Nick, and Nick going with...
I was just going to say, that was really cute by the two of you there. just making that. That was really cute.
Yeah, we were
making amends. Last year was kind of a bloodbath between us.
It was. We'll see. So that's it. That's all we got on the 2022. I almost said 2021. 2022 defensive class. Very, very good defensive class. Please leave comments below what you think about the class, and any videos you want us to do for 2022. So we will see very soon. Please follow us Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at BoomerBustDraft. Hit the merch store. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Of course, go to our friends, manscaped.com. Use the promo code BoomerBust, all caps, no spaces, for 20% off and free shipping. So for PJ Clark, Tate Sigworth, and Nick Merriam, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.